Dear God, one shot, just one, and then there'll be no more. Just one shot, baby, just one shot. Dear God, one shot, just one, and then there'll be no more. Just one shot.
I just started this fucking thing, and it was going good. And then I like breathed through my nose or something, or like kind of half coughed or something. And all the ashes from this ashtray fucking went flying in the air and came floating down like the fucking snow scene in Bedford Falls of A Wonderful Life all over my fucking computer. My computer's a hunk of shit to begin with, but I lived through the fucking thing because I don't have a fucking cell phone because I'm a fucking troglodyte Neanderthal Luddite. And getting the ash in there is going to fuck it all up. I've already spilled Dr. Pepper on the thing about 15 fucking times. The other thing that's fucking annoying me is I can hear the neighbors through the fucking wall, which means they can likely hear me, which unnerves me on some level I can't fucking explain. I don't like to be heard while I do this fucking thing, and I keep hearing people coming in and out from downstairs, which disturbs me fucking greatly. So we're already facing a great deal of adversity, but we'll try to plow through it. Hello there, fellow courtesans, concubines, and curly-cued Casanovas with a consuming commitment to crass communication and creative expression like this creepy curmudgeon right fucking here. Like all you creepy curmudgeons out fucking there. And that is enough amusing amalgam of alliteration from this aging asshole and archetype of addiction and accountability to auspiciously announce the advent of the action here at White Trash Rob's Nodcast. Ah, shit. Look who's fucking back. So let's fucking go. Fuck, I gotta tell you guys something. I just got reminded of something. I'll get to all the fucking news and where the fuck I was and all that stuff in a second. But I'm going with the mood here right now, and the whole reason I'm even back on this fucking camera is I'm in the fucking mood again. Last 3 weeks I was collapsing under the weight of a grinding fucking depression. That I didn't want to get into this early, but a bunch of people were fucking hitting me up on the social media when I finally turned it back on this fucking week. We did the Freedom Fest last week, which I want to talk about as well. It was fucking awesome. One of the best fucking experiences I've ever had with music. Show was fucking awesome, but more importantly, and I'm happy about that, but more importantly, I got to see so many fucking old heads and people that I haven't gotten a chance to see in a long time. It was fucking awesome. That should have jarred me out of my fucking depression, but it did for the weekend, while the weekend was fucking happening. But then I came back and I just fucking closed down for a few more days, and I didn't really turn the computer back on until like mid this week. And I still wasn't in the mood to communicate in any way with anybody. But I got a bunch of messages from people saying, "You fucking alive? What the fuck's going on? Where are the fucking videos?" And then it turned into, "Fuck the videos. Are you still alive? Are you okay? You shooting dope? Blah, blah, blah." No, I wasn't shooting dope. Although, god damn, did I fucking want to. Holy, ugh. Like, fucking wet pussy lust. Like, fucking wet pussy lust. Look, I've said this before. I cannot abide anger. I can't abide fucking anger. I can't. That is like the one of depression. You just fucking sit there and you fucking suffer under the weight of it. You just sit there and you suck. But anger, like I've said this before, anger is an emotion that demands action, and oftentimes, for a variety of the situations life throws at you that causes anger, there is no immediate thing to do anything about it. So what I do is I turn it inside and I get paralyzed. This sounds like pussy shit, but I'm telling you the fucking truth. I gotta tell you the fucking truth, because there's no fucking way some of the people watching this aren't grappling with fucking anger issues. Christ. Every Blood for Blood fan had an anger management fucking problem. every RAMALLAH fan was probably contemplating domestic terrorism, for Christ's fucking sake. So I got to talk about this stuff. And the other reason that I can't fucking abide anger is it makes me feel like I'm fucking 5 years old, which was 5, 10, 15, those ages in there, which were the most powerless fucking times in my life. So anger makes me feel inherently fucking powerless. And the thing with me is, if I can't, when I was at the point the past 3 weeks, I did a bunch of videos, and then I didn't fucking do them. And I'm doing this all out of order. Once again, I'm just going with the flow. I did a bunch of fucking videos, and then I didn't do nothing with them because I didn't feel right about them. I did a video like 3 weeks ago, the first week that I missed. I've been gone for 3 fucking weeks. Really fucking bothers me. A la recherche du temps perdu. In search of lost time. That's what this episode's all about. I gotta fucking get back on the fucking horse. I get to a point where I can't fucking speak with the fucking mood shit, with the anger and the fucking depression. I literally can't fucking communicate it, and that makes me all the more riled. And fucking, then I go like ballistic. I had this video. Someday I'll release the fucking outtakes, because I try to turn this thing on when I'm tongue-tied with fucking wrath and hatred, fucking poisonous venom running through my veins like fucking lava, ready to eat through the tissue paper of my skin and spill all over the house and eat a hole in the fucking floor like those aliens when you blow them up on fucking aliens. They bust and the acid eats down 9 floors. Somebody shot me when I'm in one of those fucking moods. It would eat a hole to the fucking Earth's core. If they shot me in the head, the blackness inside would cause nuclear fucking winter. That's what I feel like anyway. But I can't communicate when I'm in a fucking mood like that. And that causes the whole thing to fucking geometrically expand into this fucking nuclear fission of fucking rage. Didn't make any sense. I'm fucking utterly babbling. That was not my fucking point. Alright, we'll get to it then. Fine. What broke me out of this fucking mood, finally, two things, and then we'll move on. Because I actually have plans and there's a bunch of stuff I gotta talk about. 2 things broke me out of this fucking mood. One, I was in the laundromat earlier this week. I don't remember which day. You can check the Twitter. I made a tweet about it. And I was in a fucking fugue of my own fucking wrath and hatred and fucking poisonous despair. And I was literally like the definition of a fucking angry old curmudgeon in the laundromat. Fucking throwing my fucking wet underwear in the fucking dryer. Because the dryer downstairs is busted. And it's been busted for like 3 months, even though they say there's a new dryer and it'll be here any day. It hasn't been here for 3 months. I don't really care about that. That's niggling stuff. I don't care about that. That's middling stuff. I can edit that. But I'm in the fucking laundromat. And I'm in a fucking quagmire of my own fucking bullshit. And I'm probably literally throwing panties and fucking wet panties and underwear in the fucking dryer going, motherfucking cocksucking ass spelunking jizz loving cum guzzling cocksucker, muttering to myself. Literally. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying those specific things, but I'm like, this fucking cocksucking bitch, motherfucker, just throwing panties. And this little girl comes up to me. She's with her family. They're doing laundry. This little, like, 5-year-old girl. Little Latina chick. Little Latina girl. Comes walking right up to me. And, puts her head around the, like, pulls, like, I got the door on the laundromat, the fucking dryer, the door, I got it like this, and I'm chucking stuff in. I'm on the, like, they got them stacked up too high. I'm on the bottom one. I'm, like, throwing things in. And she pulls the door around and goes, "Hi!" Like, right to me, with such warmth and sincerity and enthusiasm, that it cut through my bullshit like a fucking samurai sword. I just looked at her like, "Hi." And she just kind of bubbled and walked away. And I was so struck. I stopped in the middle of my fucking jet roar of inner darkness, the monologue of fucking symphony of blackness and despair, utterly went dead, silent, crickets in my head. And I was like, you gotta get over yourself, man. But in the meantime, I watched her go with this big smile on my face. And I kind of looked up at her parents, who were younger than me. I looked up at her parents to kind of smile, because they watched her. They were watching her come over and say hi to me. And I kind of looked up to her to kind of smile at them and have a special moment with the parents, but they weren't having it. The parents were looking at me like I was Richard Speck. They were like, when I looked up, they were like staring at me. I'm like, oh, will you slow the fuck down? Pedophiles don't look like pedophiles, all right? That's how they stay in business. I might look like a creep, but I'm not actually a creep. As a matter of fact, I'd drink poison for your kid if it would protect her. But they were looking at me like, so they weren't having none of the special moment. But that didn't blow my high. That didn't blow my fucking epiphany moment. I just walked out and I said, you have a nice night, to the little girl. And she was like, and it just made my fucking night. It cut right through my fucking bullshit. This was followed, back-to-back, 1-2 punch of goodwill and fucking niceness. The next night, I was fucking, this must have been Monday night or something. I was watching interviews of the fighters from the UFC event. MMA is going to come up twice, so put on your MMA raincoat. But they're coming up for a point. I'm not going to talk about fighting. I've never done that. I swore I'd never do that. It just led me to some anecdotes. And I'm fucking babbling, I realize that. But one of the fighters has won like 9 fights in a row, and he should have a fucking title fight like 4 fights ago. He should have got a title fight at like 6 wins in a row. His name's Demian Maia. Anybody that knows MMA knows who he is. Jiu-Jitsu ace. A wicked nice guy. He's got no attitude in him. He doesn't shit talk his opponents and stuff like that. They asked him, you're at 9 fights. You think you're guaranteed a title shot right now? And he said, yeah, I think so. And they said, you're going to get all your hopes worked up on. You're going to get your hopes invested in this? You're all worked up for this? And he said, no. I gave up on that. He's like, I just got to keep going forth with what I got to do. The title shot, I don't control that. I don't worry about things. I had to stop worrying about things that I don't control. I can only worry about what I can control. I can't control that. Now, this is obvious to anybody that's in the program for fucking years. I should have had this tattooed on my forehead backwards, the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage and strength to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the fucking difference. This is not a new lesson. I should have it tattooed on my forehead backwards so I can read it in the fucking mirror every morning. As a matter of fact, I'm seriously considering doing that right fucking now. But it hit me at the right moment, as sometimes your tweets do, as sometimes your messages do. These 2 events hit me at the right moment and snapped me out of my fucking shit. I could get into the shit that drove me to this tongue-tied spasm of fucking despair and hatred. It's career-oriented. There's just shit slowing me down and holding me back with some of my plans. But those 2 events snapped me the fuck out of it. Let me see how long this is run, because I bet this is long. No, it's not too fucking long yet. So let me tell the fucking story real quick. Then we'll do the Nodcast Prayer, take a break, and come back, and I'll get to the real point of this shit. You're gonna get a long one. It's been 3 weeks. It's like popping a fucking zit. It's gonna be a long one. So Bill Burr, I was just watching a Bill Burr fucking podcast. He told this funny story about these 2 guys in a Cessna plane. The door, one of those little fucking single prop fucking planes, and the fucking door was rattling. So one of the guys goes back to check the door, and it flies open. So the pilot is like, oh my God, my buddy just got sucked out of the plane. Holy fuck. And it's one of those doors like the stairway falls down. So he has to land the plane with this thing sticking out. He thinks his buddy's dead, and he thinks he's going to die trying to land the plane. He lands the plane. He goes to the back to the door. He finds his buddy with his feet wedged in the door, laying all the way down the stairway, hanging on like this. He's trying to talk to the guy and get him to release the grip, and he couldn't. Paramedics came. They spent 20 minutes trying to pry this guy's fucking hands. I don't blame the guy. Trying to pry his hands off the little ladder that comes out of the plane, because he fucking held on the whole time from like 20,000 feet all the way down to landing. He's hanging on. So he had a death grip. And that's what Bill Burr was laughing about. He's like, this guy had this death grip. The paramedics spent 20 minutes trying to talk the guy to let go, and he wouldn't. They were trying to fucking pry his fingers off the thing. He wouldn't let go. I don't blame the fucking guy. But it reminded me of something fucking hilarious. I bought my little brother a hamster for Christmas like 20 years ago. Reminded me of the death grip thing. Bought him a hamster like 20 years ago. He was like 6. And I was living up my father's, and he was in Charlestown. So I was in Melrose, he was in Charlestown. I bought him the hamster, but I didn't buy none of the stuff for the hamster. I was just going to give him the hamster. I didn't really think it through. I bought the hamster, I didn't think it through. You got to buy a cage, you got to buy the litter, you got to buy the food, the water bottle, all that fucking shit, the little wheel. I didn't buy none of that. was just gonna hand my brother a hamster for Christmas. I guess I was only like 14 or 15. So it's Christmas Eve. I'm not seeing my brother till the next day. It's also like 30 below zero, and I had to carry the hamster home against my chest, and it was fucking biting me and shit because I couldn't carry it. It was in one of those little hamster cardboard boxes they give you that the hamster immediately pisses in, and it like eats through the fucking cardboard. The hamster's legs is poking out to try to get away. So I put that box against my chest when I walked home and took the train. It was like 30 below zero. Like I had the hamster all huddled against me so it wouldn't freeze to death. So I get it home and I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do with this fucking hamster? I was like, can I put it in the tub? He's like, no, we're taking fuck. My father's like, my old man's like, no, you fucking crazy? You're going to take showers in there. Fuck that, no. So we got this big fucking box, big fucking cardboard box, put the hamster in. He said, I'll bring it to Patrick tomorrow. That's my little brother. I'll bring it to him. And I just handed him a hamster for Christmas. Like I said, I didn't think it through. So for some reason, I don't know why, I think I went down in the basement. We left the box down in the basement, okay? I'm sorry. This is taking a long time. I got 3 weeks of shit in my fucking head, Tina Turner. So I fucking go downstairs to the basement for some reason. I'm not checking on the hamster because I'm not even thinking about the fucking hamster. Like I said, I didn't give the hamster a lot of thought to begin with at all. I think I went downstairs to whack off or something. There was a VCR and TV in the basement. I used to sneak down there whenever I could and watch my supply of pornos and whack off. Because I was 15, so I was a fucking walking hard on looking for a hole to stick it in. I'd whack off like 20 times a day until I puffed air. Probably lucky though, because the couple of girls I was screwing back in high school, I probably would have knocked them up if I wasn't whacking off so much. If you whack off more than 10 times a day for 2 weeks in a row, you effectively castrate yourself. You effectively give yourself a vasectomy. Your sperm count gets so low. So that's like, I was rocking that shit for years. I was basically effectively, what do they call that? Sterile. Because I would whack off 10 times and then fuck 3 times. That's how bad my libido was. Long story short, I get down to the basement, likely to whack off, and I look, and the cat, they had a cat there in Melrose. It's on the ground, and it's hunched over something. And I'm like, what the fuck is the cat doing? Because normally the cat used to run away from me. It was just a mean cat. It would like flip out on you and shit. I'm like, what's he doing? So I walk over, and I'm kind of like, hey, what are you doing over there, little kitty? What you got going? And I look, and he got the hamster on his back, pinned down like this. Like, you know, the cat pounces on the hamster, and it's like looking in his eyeballs. I'm like, holy shit. All right. And I come walking over real slow. I'm not going to bare my teeth because I got fucking bad teeth, and you guys don't need to see that because I don't hand out fucking air sickness bags. You fucking throw up. But the hamster is looking right in the cat's eyeballs. The cat's looking right in the fucking hamster's eyeballs. And it's like, the hamster's face is in this Joker fucking rictus of, like, cornered ferocity. Like, his teeth are totally fucking bared, but they're like, it looked like somebody took a razor and cut the cheeks out of the hamster's face. The hamster's in such mortal terror that it's snarl, it's death snarl, because it's probably assuming the cat's going to kill him. And I assume if I didn't get down there, if I got down there even 5 minutes later, the cat would have fucking killed the hamster. But I yanked the fucking cat off, and the hamster's face is like, it looked like Pennywise from It or some shit. Like, its face is like this total fucking rictus of death terror. And I picked the hamster up, and it's still like that. It's looking at me like, so I'm like, holy shit, the hamster's really scared. I'm like patting it and stuff, and it's like, it never went away. That's the point of the story. That's the thing that built that hamster's face. It lived for like 3 more years. I gave it to my brother the next day. I handed it to him. My brother was like, he didn't want to touch it. He's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, well, the cat nearly killed it last night, and it had that face on when I came down, and the cat was going to kill it. I assume this face will wear off. It never did. The hamster spent the rest of its life like with this fucking death snarl, rictus, its teeth bared forever. It's like the muscles paralyzed that way or some shit. Isn't that weird? The Bill Burr story about the guy not letting go for like an hour after they landed reminded me of that. I'm like, that kind of reminds me of that fucking hamster that looked like the Joker for the rest of his fucking life. Incidental story, incidental fucking anecdote, but I'm going with the flow because otherwise I ain't going to get a video done because I'll collapse back into my own fucking darkness. So here we go. Doff your fucking hats and all that shit. What I got to do to find a better way to make it through. There's got to be a better way than living like this. I was waiting for a better way and waiting for a better day. I waited so long that I lost my faith. I was waiting, I was hating, I was pleading, I was bleeding, I was praying for something that never came, which is the honest to God's truth. I, you, all of us prayed for something that never came. So bang, bang, and no more. Ah! As always, for the most devout of you out there that want to pray along with the Nodcast Prayer, here it is in real time. And we'll come back and get this fucking colossal jalopy, brouhaha, shindig, shebang, shanana, shamalama, ding dong, on like Donkey Kong. See you in a second. Here's the Nodcast Prayer. Sing along if you'd like. Hit it, Bob.
Pick this shit up! What I gotta do to find a better way to make it through? There's gotta be a better way to live it like this. I was waiting for a better way, I'm waiting for a better day. I was waiting so long that I lost my faith. Waiting, I was hating, I was bleeding, I was bleeding, I was praying for something that never came. I prayed for something that never came. So bang, bang, and no more. No one could save me, and the pain drove me out of my heart. My soul was a great black pit. I just had to find something to fill it with. Cause it was either that or slit my fucking wrist. One shot, there's no more. Now did the dope spot. Who created the dope man? Took the communion that was offered, it was dope, man. Now did the dope spot. Who created the dope man? I'm on my knees the way you like it. Take my soul, man. Yeah, you can fly to it. You can climb so high to it. In a Dunkin' Donuts bathroom, you can die to it. And you can burn to it. Yeah, you can burn to it. Burn, 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 burn. And then there will be no more.
Alright. Quick bit of news and housekeeping before we get to the core of this fucking thing. I'm going to try to fucking blow through it. I redecorated the fucking joint. Got a new tiki on the wall, the Manic Attic of fucking Darkness. Hung a banner in the background. It's actually just a t-shirt I had kicking around. Some fucking tour passes that I prefer to fucking sell, but don't know how to sell nothing on the computer. So until somebody knocks on my door with a handful of cash and I hand these over to them, they're going to hang there. Freedom Fest was fucking awesome. Celebrating 20 years of my Troy brothers. It also happens to coincide with my 20th anniversary with our family and brotherhood. It was a fucking blast. Also celebrating the release of my brother Tithead after 15 years in prison. It was one of the most meaningful shows I've played in as long as I can fucking remember. The show itself was fucking awesome, but it was also great seeing all the old friends and family and people that I fucking love from over the years. So many of them. I'm not going to mention names because if I forget anybody, I'll feel fucking bad, but it was great seeing you all. My love to you fucking all. And Tithead, as soon as they get that bracelet off your fucking ankle, you got to come stay with me and Deirdre. In the meantime, I hope to get back to Albany and Troy and see you real soon. Great seeing fucking everybody. My love to you all. To everybody that attended the show, I'm sorry I threatened to stab you all in the kidney with a screwdriver and twist it. I think everybody understood where my head was at when I said that, but I did think about it over the past week and said that might have been a little too much. So sorry for threatening to screw up your internal organs with a screwdriver, everybody that attended the Freedom Fest. Shout out to all the fucking bands. Big Pete and 100 Demons. Mike Score and All Out War. It was great fucking seeing them. Scott Vogel, Martine, and all the Terror guys. It's fucking great seeing you, brother. It's great seeing fucking Brian, the Death Before Dishonor guys, our brothers from Boston. And I finally got to meet some friends in person that I've been communicating with and corresponding with for a long time on the social media. I got to meet my socially contracted life mate and hardcore Anthony Gonzalez from God's Hate. God's Hate is one of my favorite new up-and-coming fucking bands. But I got to meet Anthony. He does these fucking hilarious videos that make fun of white people. I fucking love them. They reliably brighten my mood. And hitherto, to this point in my life, the only thing that has reliably brightened my mood, other than my wife, and she's a recent development as well, is a fifth of Jack Daniels or a syringe full of Afghan tan. So, Anthony, God bless you for those videos because they always fucking put me in a better mood. I got to meet Colin Young, who I did not know was in God's Hate. Colin's also in Twitching Tongues, another band. They're not up and coming. They're now firmly established, but they're one of my favorite bands last 2 decades. He honored me with an offer to sing on one of the new Twitching Tongues songs on the upcoming album, and the only proper response to an offer like that is fuck yes, Colin. It was great fucking meeting you. And I also got to meet Brody King, their singer, who I've been talking with on the Twitter and via email and shit like that for quite a while now. I did an interview with Brody on video, and that's one of the bits of news I wanted to get to. We've been talking about doing it for a long time. The Freedom Fest was the occasion to do so. Brody sings for God's Hate, like I said, a band that I'm quite fond of, but he's also a professional wrestler. And that's something I was really into as a kid. I'm also really into MMA. Roots of MMA are connected to old strong style wrestling and stuff like that, and it's an industry I find fascinating. It's a perspective, a unique perspective that was new to me. And that video will be coming as soon as we get it edited. So there will be a video coming with me doing this thing with Brody King, aka Nate from God's Hate. Looking forward to getting that out, and I'm also looking forward to doing more videos like that with anybody willing to do so that I run into at the upcoming RAMALLAH shows. So let's try to wrap this up, take a quick break, and we'll come back with the return of White Trash Rob's Nodcast after a hissy fit of 3 fucking weeks, which will happen from time to... I'm clicking the pen again. I gotta stop clicking the fucking pen. Come back, it's gonna be a survival guide. See you in a second, guy.
The sign in the road says we're going nowhere. Oh yeah! Oh no, let's go.
Light is blinking. Alright, welcome back to White Trash Rob's Nodcast. The return episode à la recherche du temps perdu. In search of lost time, trying to make up for fucking lost time. I got a couple of little anecdotes I want to share with you. As amusing to me as the hamster story, but infinitely darker and more terrible, that are going to lead me, hopefully, to a larger point, which will allow this particular installment, the White Trash Rob's Nodcast, function as another installment of the White Trash Survival Guide, in which I share pointers from my own strange, sad, surreal little corner of the American nightmare that I've navigated my whole life. Some of the lessons I've learned to help you navigate similar waters, stormy waters, if you are as stupid as I am. Allow my stupidity to be a beacon of light to guide you through this dark, cold world. The lessons I've had kicked into my fucking head repeatedly, because that's the only way I learn anything, allow me to share them with you. That's what the White Trash Survival Guide is all about, and that's hopefully what this little thing will be. How's that? All right, first story, first anecdote. Telling anecdote. It's a war story, of course. Everything I share is a fucking war story. I'm a fucking tale teller, but I like to call them anecdotes and analogies because they lead, hopefully, to a greater point. Back in the day, there was this guy that used to hang around at one of the bars that the Boston hardcore punk scene gravitated to after the Ratskeller closed back in, whenever it closed, 98, 99, I don't remember exactly. And I should know to the minute when the Rat closed, because that's when my social life truly fucking died forever. After that, I became more and more introverted, more and more of a fucking recluse. The Rat was my cheers. That was like my cheers. That was like the place that I walked in and everybody knew me and I knew all of them. And what a slaughterhouse that fucking place was too. The grass grew very green, peeking up through the cement in the back parking lot behind the Rat, because it was well fertilized with human bodily fluids. A lot of fucking bad shit went down at the Rat on a fucking nightly basis. I don't know how that. I've said it before in one of the older episodes. I don't know how that place wasn't all over BPD's radar. I really don't. I don't know who. I won't mention his name, but the owner of the rat was buying off in BPD because the fucking meat wagon, the ambulance was out back of that place every other fucking night. But there's a guy that hung around at the rat, and then after the rat closed and the Boston hardcore punk street rock scene tried to make a couple of other bars around Boston into a fake rat. And one of them was the Cambridgeport Saloon. I don't think this matters. This is a matter of public record. It doesn't really matter now. I don't think I'm giving anything up. I'm not going to mention any names anyway. But the Cambridgeport, I never liked the place. It had a tough local crowd that wasn't psyched about having all these punk rock people show up. There was a gangster contingent and a lot of friction there. I never felt at ease there the way I did at the Rat. I'll tell that story. I just thought of a funny story from the Rat. I'll tell it later if I still feel like it. If the juices are still flowing after I try to get done what I'm trying to get done. But anyway, there was this guy. He had been around the hardcore scene forever. He was actually, there were two crews prior to the ascension of my fraternal organization. The 378. There were two boogeymen crews in Boston hardcore back when at the very beginning when I first started going to shows. The 378 Fraternal Brotherhood was on the rise, and it eventually pushed out these other two organizations, or absorbed what remained of them. But the original two boogeyman crews were Scooby-Doo Posse and Jarget. They were the two infamous Boston hardcore crews, and they were fucking legit. They were for real. They were nobody to be trifled with. They weren't to be trifled with. And one of their guys, long story short, an old school hardcore guy that had been down with Jarget and Scooby-Doo was hanging at the Cambridgeport, and he got into some shit with one of the local gangsters. I don't know how, just like a drunken argument one night. I don't even know if it was drunk. Got in some shit, and the old school hardcore guy was just this quiet guy. I liked him a lot. Just a real quiet guy. Again, nobody to really screw around with. Slapped a little gangster around. The little gangster swore revenge, said he was going to kill him. This dude just kept going to the Cambridgeport because I guess his attitude was fuck that guy. So the gangster showed up one night out front with a bunch of his friends and said something to the effect of, tell that motherfucker if he wants any to come on out front. So this dude immediately went out front. And the little G pulled a firearm on him and pointed it at him. And the old school hardcore guy said, what are you going to do with that? You're not going to do nothing with that. And the little gangster, point blank, shot him right in the stomach. Old school hardcore dude then goes, that all you got? And the dude shot him again in front of everybody. Dude went to prison for this. Right after he shot the guy, he threw the gun on the roof, which was collected 5 minutes after the police got there. Hundreds of witnesses. This wasn't a case of anybody from the bar diming out what happened. There were people right there on fucking Cambridge Street, right across from MIT. Students were watching. There were 100 witnesses to this. Now this story is illustrative in its own right, but I remember afterwards what struck me. That the whole situation is something to be marveled at in its own right on a lot of different levels, and hopefully I can explain this, bring this around to a larger point. But I remember afterwards talking to Buddha from Blood for Blood, and we were just talking about the whole thing, and Buddha was like, yeah, dude, that dude's double tough, but man, that was a fucking stupid thing to say. And I was like, what, that all you got? And he's like, well, that was like double stupid. But he said, the way he put it was, the whole thing about, what are you going to do? You're not going to shoot me. Buddha's exact words were, if I had a gun on somebody, and even if the last thing on fucking earth I wanted to do was shoot them, the minute they said, what are you going to do? You're not going to use the gun. What are you going to fucking do? You're not going to shoot me. Buddha's exact words were, I'd just pull the trigger. I'd have to do it. I'd have no choice. And I was fucking howling. I was like, really? Even if you absolutely did not want to shoot the guy? He's like, yeah, the minute he said that, I would just have to, like, pull the trigger and shoot him in the chest. I was fucking howling. I was like, God damn. I was like, fucking the human condition, man. And that's the truth, because there was another situation that happened somewhere else involving Buddha where we were cornered by a bunch of guys and it wasn't looking good, and Buddha had a fucking lead pipe, and one of the dudes was foolish enough to say, what are you going to do with the pipe? You're not going to do nothing with the pipe. Tough guy, put the pipe down. And Buddha looked at the pipe and just went, what pua, what pua, what pua. So he's true to his fucking word with that. But I remember thinking, damn, like, he admitted that there's something in human nature that even if the last thing you want to do is shoot somebody and fucking go to jail for it and just have anything to do with that, the minute you're told you ain't gonna do that, he'd just squeeze the trigger and deal with it. Fuck, the camera just stopped, and I don't know if it was because of the battery or because it got too long, but it's been happening a lot lately. I gotta fucking keep an eye on that. So let's try to keep the mojo momentum fucking going here. Those two anecdotes I just told you about the guy getting shot, and then the commentary of Buddha saying, you know, if somebody said that to me, I'd just pull the trigger and fucking deal with it. And then after the story with the pipe. The salient feature of these things is that it didn't need to happen. There were a million points at which all of this could have been avoided, but for the human element. And that's fucking worth keeping in mind. Hopefully I can elaborate a bit further, but like in the case with the pipe story, crack, 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 push, 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 stab, stab, stab. We were outnumbered. We were running scared. We were looking like we were on the receiving end. We would have preferred to just get out of there. We would have preferred to disengage. And we were looking, things weren't looking good. But the minute somebody says something like that, you got that human fucking X factor, pride, ego, fear, adrenaline, anger, rage. Boom. Now we've crossed the Rubicon. The die has been cast. The Yekta Este, whatever the fuck it is. I'm not gonna remember that off the top of my head. But these are the complicated human factors that need to be fucking considered when you leave your house, step outside your door into that jungle waiting out there. My girl, my Deirdre, she has this funny practical way of summing up really complicated situations in very simplistic terms that make a lot of sense, like sort of like AA, like the AA slogans boil down these wicked complicated fucking human equations into simple terms and aphorisms which can be understood, digested, and by which you can even live. And if you know, I of course, like with the story with the guy getting shot twice, both times calling it on, if he hadn't been, if after the first situation, I mean, all the way, even the impetus situation where he slapped a little gangster around, he didn't necessarily have to do that. And then afterwards, when the dude swears revenge, he didn't have to keep going to that bar to make a point. As a matter of fact, anybody divorced from the situation, outside of the situation, would advise him emphatically, dude, don't go to that bar. That dude's looking to shoot you. The dude that did the shooting, he threw his life away to fucking do that. He didn't need to do that either. What's an ass whipping? Take your ass whipping. Big fucking deal, especially if perhaps you called it on, because the guy in question, the hardcore guy that got shot, he wasn't somebody to start with people. He was just somebody to not take it if somebody lipped off to him. He was not a prickly guy, not in that sense. He wasn't overreactive. He was just, once he did react, he kept reacting. This is the shit. And the way my girl would sum that up is, she always has this saying whenever I tell one of these stories, where these awful, violent stories and stuff, she'll just, boys are dumb. That's the way she always words it. Now, that's true. There's truth to that. It's somewhat simplistic, but it's not wrong. So it's sort of like, is a broad truth an incisive truth? Not necessarily. War is hell. Yeah, of course, everybody knows that, but it's not very specific. All Quiet on the Western Front is fucking specific. Now I'm officially babbling, but my girl, just that's what she's learned. Very practical from being around. My girl always got along with guys better than girls. And I know some of you out there are saying, "I'll bet she did." No, it ain't like that at fucking all. My Deirdre, she was a skinhead chick. I've told the story before, back when we were kids. She was the first love of my life. She was the first crush that I had in high school. She was my first girlfriend. She was my first infatuation and love. And I was a little punk rock guy, and she was a skinhead. Now, you got to remember, this was back in the 90s. Not late 80s, early 90s. I'm talking like 89, 90. That's when we got together. We're in 9th grade. And she was a full-on boots and braces skinhead. Oxblood docks. And back then, even the laces could get you jumped. They had a variety of meanings, but the meanings weren't carved in granite anywhere, so people would misinterpret them. White laces sometimes meant white power, depending on who you were hanging with. Sometimes red laces meant white power. Sometimes red laces meant communism. So even within the punk hardcore scene, skinheads would jump on each other for a variety of reasons. But this was back, and she was a poor girl from Dorchester, just her and her mother. She had no family. Father had split out when she was a kid, so she had a really tough upbringing. And this was back in the day where having your head shaved with the bangs and the boots and everything, the white infrastructure, the jocks and the fucking preps and stuff like that, they were going to give you a hard time. The blacks were going to give, the African-American people were going to give you a hard time because they thought you were white power, even though she wasn't. She was a skinhead. They'd assume you were hostile. And the other skinheads would jump you for your docks and shit like that. And my whole point is, she didn't get along with the way, she's always been practical and direct. She didn't get along with the way females conflict with one another. It's more complicated, it's less direct, and I can give you an example. She was 5'4" at most back then, 5'2", 5'4", and she weighed fucking 95 pounds. And she got jumped one time by a bunch of big, burly, gorilla skinhead chicks for her docks. They'd probably seen her as an easy target. She was fucking tiny, and these were big anchor tattoo on their forearm. We used to call them brutes in Charlestown, brutes. Big battleship on the chest between the tits. And she stabbed them. She went shiv happy on them when they tried to beat her up for her docks. That's how she dealt with it. It's worth factoring in the back of this tale as well. She's always hung around, gotten along better with guys because of that practicality, and she always had the sister thing going on. She's been part of this scene forever. But one of her other aphorisms, and it's really the point of this whole fucking story, this whole fucking jalopy, whatever the fuck I'm trying to do here, is don't be a dick. That's one of her life's rules. Just don't be a dick. Whenever possible, don't be a dick. So Earlier this week, fuck, the fucking thing stopped again. Breaking my stride. All kinds of adversity with this particular Nodcast. So, where are we thus far? Survival rule number 1, or whatever, number 674, or whatever. Don't be a dick. I'd add to that something else. Words matter, so watch your fucking mouth. Words matter, so watch your fucking mouth. Let me explain. Earlier this week, some female MMA fighter punched out an other female MMA fighter outside of the ring, outside of a sanctioned fight. They ran into each other in a social situation, and one of them punched out the other. The one that did the punching, you don't need to know anything about MMA. I'll explain it very quickly. The one that did the punching is named Cristiano Cyborg Justiano, or Justine, or some shit. Her name's Cyborg. That's her nickname, and she is the most feared female on the planet right now. She is a monster. Back in the early days of MMA, a lot of female MMA fighters threw punches like the way we traditionally think of girls throwing punches, flailing and stuff like that. Cyborg throws punches like Mike fucking Tyson. She's a fighter from down Brazil. She could probably beat dudes. She is a fierce human being. Seems like a relatively nice person. The person she punched, her name is Angela Magana, and she is a non-entity in MMA. Cyborg, the one that did the punching, is like one of the she's in the top 10 pound for pound fighters on the planet right now, even in the mix with the men. The one that got punched, the fighter that got punched, Angela Magana, she's not even ranked. She hasn't won. She's lost her last 5 fights, 4 or 5 fights. She hasn't fought in 2 years. She's a literal non-entity. Her only claim to fame is that she has a big Instagram account because she puts tons of pictures up of her ass in various degrees of exposure. I'll admit it, she's got a sexy ass. Her ass is pleasant to look at. And her other claim to fame is that she relentlessly and mercilessly antagonizes every other female fighter out there, mocks them, insults them, makes fun of them, chases them around, etc., etc. And she's been doing this to Cyborg for years, mocking her in every possible way, insulting her in the most insulting, tasteless terms, mocking her appearance, etc. Cyborg is a severe-looking human being. She's not especially attractive. She looks like the way I described. So they ran into each other at a social gathering and had words and couldn't come to terms, and Cyborg popped her in the face. And evidently the straw that broke the camel's back was Cyborg had gone to a cancer ward dressed as Superman to amuse the kids, like like one of those Make-A-Wish type things, like utterly like one of the nicest things a celebrity can do, show up and wow the kids. And down in Brazil, which is where she's from, MMA is like American NFL. It's huge. The players are celebrities. They're national heroes. So there was this picture circling the internet of Cyborg in a Superman outfit pretending to fly for these sick kids. It's like as close to a blameless situation as you can imagine. And this middling, here's my ass, I'm only famous because I spend my time relentlessly antagonizing people online, took the picture and mocked it, put like a picture of the puppet from Saw and said, look, their faces are the same. And sadly, there is a resemblance. So this nobody who spends all of her time mocking, insulting other people got punched in the face, and she immediately went into, I'm going to sue, you have no right to do that. Now, she's not getting any empathy from the public. The court of public opinion is she got what she deserved. But there's a few legalists out there, in addition to herself, saying, I can say whatever I want, you can't do anything about it, there's laws and blah, fucking blah. And it's an example of that present day, contemporary internet ethic of I can say whatever I want, whenever I want to anybody, and you literally can't do anything about it. Now, technically, by the laws of the land, that is technically true. You're supposed to, well, I mean, there are limits. There's actually, a lot of states have fighting words, codicils in their laws, that there's certain things that if you say, the person's allowed to take it as a threat and defend themselves, etc. But that's a dicey situation right there. That's not something I'm going to get into right now. Self-defense is fucking a complicated legal issue. But she got popped in the face, and now she was trying to press for felony assault charges, and now nobody cared. She's getting, the one that did the punching is getting charged with misdemeanor battery, etc. So now she's going to sue, and utter entitlement. Look, are you technically supposed to be able to say whatever you want, whenever you want, without getting checked for it? Yeah. In the same way that I legally have the right to walk through Boston Common at 3:30 in the morning on a Saturday night with 3 gold Rolexes on my watch, on my arm, wearing nothing but a Speedo. Technically, I'm legally allowed to do that, but would anybody consider that a good idea? And if I went and did it and got stabbed 4 times by muggers in the Boston Common and got those Rolexes torn off my arm, would anybody go, oh my God, poor guy? No, they'd say, Durr, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking idiot? It's the same thing as, does a woman have a right to pass out in a frat house, utterly naked with her legs spread and not be touched? Yeah, absolutely. Is it a good idea to try that? No fucking way. And I literally believe that a woman should have the right. There's no circumstances under which rape is allowable or justified, ever. But that doesn't change the fact that outside your door there are animals in the jungle. And the jungle is a place of tooth and claw fucking hierarchy. Words fucking matter, and the world is the world. I'm not rendering an ethical judgment here. I'm simply saying there are people out there, like the guys I described earlier, willing to shoot and be shot for reasons of ego, pride, anger, fear, etc., etc. The world is riddled with these people. This whole, I can say whatever I want, yeah, technically it's true, but if you get your jaw broken, I don't give a fuck. Don't be a fucking dick. Words fucking matter. And, sorry, I'm getting distracted. My computer's doing fucking funny stuff. That was kind of my fucking point. That story earlier, the whole fucking, I can say whatever I want. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love fucking hardcore. Because unlike like the death metal scene and all these other heavy scenes where everybody is mercilessly shit talking each other and expecting to get away with it, in hardcore, you pull that shit and try to be part of, unless you're just going to be an anonymous ghost on the computer hiding in your fucking closet like a maggot worm subhuman, you'll get checked. And I like even the fact I get up in front of often boozed, liquored up, tense audiences. I say the wrong thing, they'll pull me off that stage and fucking wire my jaw shut. And I don't have a problem with that. It keeps me fucking honest. It keeps my fucking head in check. The fact that, this is the real world. Go ahead and try to go out there saying whatever you want, whenever you want, to anybody at any given time. See where that fucking gets you. If you, and especially with that fucking talentless hack that her entire claim to fame is showing her fucking ass, if you maintain a sustained, unrelenting campaign of humiliation against another person, you get what you get. Most people, nothing's going to come of it, and you may get the false sense of security that you can do and say whatever you want whenever you feel like it. But that sense of entitlement out there under certain... Try that with a mafia boss. Try that with a gangbanger. Try that in the wrong neighborhood. Try that in the right neighborhood with the wrong person under the wrong circumstances. Somebody's got a few beers in them, or they're in a bad mood that day, their wife just broke up with them, and you go mouthing off to them relentlessly, not letting it go, antagonizing. Boom, you get what you fucking get. That was my kind of my point. Look, don't be a dick, and remember that words do fucking matter, so watch your fucking mouth. There's little 5'4" girls out there with pretty smiles that are utterly unassuming and not aggressive, and if you lay hands on them, try to knife you up. There's guys out there that might not want to shoot you, but if you say the wrong thing, they're going to pull that trigger and just deal with the fucking consequences. This is the fucking world we live in. This is the reality. I've seen it time and time fucking again. Unless you are actually in a suit of armor, do not walk around behaving as though you are in a fucking suit of armor. And this is an ethical judgment. I despise fucking violence. I loathe it. I wish I could rule it out of the human condition. But I can't. And my opinions on it are utterly irrelevant because it exists and it's out there. So keep it in fucking mind. This contemporary society of, well, I should be able to say whatever I want, to whatever intensity and whatever unrelenting, unremitting, campaign I choose to pursue against somebody. They have literally can only respond in kind. Yeah, technically that's supposed to be true, and the law may view it that way, but there are people out there that don't care about going to prison, that don't care about consequences. They'll squash your grape to prove a fucking point. That was just what was on my mind this week. I thought I would fucking share that. I think that's about it. This is getting long, and I've been fucking babbling, and I have not been at my best because whatever's going on with the fucking camera, I keep breaking my own stride, and sorry, and I apologize for being away for as long as I was, but all I can do is get back on the fucking horse and keep going, and do me a favor, like and share if you get anything out of this, and if you're glad it's back. And check out cultofsilence.com if you want to contribute and support to the continuation of this thing, whatever the fuck it is. And if you got nothing out of this, don't do nothing. You don't got to like, you don't got to comment. But if you did, please do. I fucking enjoy it. I'm glad to be back. I hope you are happy with the situation as well. And we'll be back next week. Is that a promise? I don't know. We'll see, but I plan on it. I love to you all. See you later, guy.
And I finally laid on that cold slab, maybe my sorrow's in trouble.